welcome everybody. We have a lot of guests today, which is wonderful, and I would like to welcome everybody to the 5,605th meeting of the Rotary Club of Chicago. I like that. Okay, well, we usually start meetings with a thought for the day, and today, being the International Day of Women, I would like to invite Lisa Russ to come to the podium and share some thoughts with us. Lisa.
Thank you, President Margaret. Can everybody hear me okay? All right. Since this is our thought for the day, I just wanted to take one moment and pause thinking about our sisters and brothers in Ukraine. Thank you. All right, International Women's Day. This is the symbol, folks. Break the bias. That's their campaign theme for 2022. And in checking out the International Women's Day website, I noticed that they have a couple of things they want us to keep in mind. They want to remind all of us that we are individually responsible for our own thoughts and actions all day, every day. What a concept. They want us to imagine a world that is free of bias, stereotypes, discrimination, a world that is diverse, equitable, and inclusive, and where difference is valued and celebrated. So I wanted to, that reminds me of an organization I'm already familiar with, and that's our organization. And I'm very proud to be a part of an organization that has been on the cutting edge of this kind of thought for many, many years, as exemplified by our four-way test. So as Aretha said it, and by the way, this is her birthday, RESPECT. Find out what it means to me, to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. And if we have to talk about respect, I think if you've been following the news for the last 10 days or so, I would say respect for Ukrainian women and men fighting with their lives to defend their country. It is humbling to see how tough their will to survive is and to be who they are. So what I would like, an announcement that I would like to make with you while I was driving here. As you know, the Rotary Foundation started an emergency fund that all of us Rotarians and friends and other organizations are free to donate money to help refugees in Ukraine. So some countries are going to making global grants that, similar to the COVID grants, are going to be approved in 24 to 48 hours. So if you have any thoughts about ways of doing this, please contact me. At the same time, outside Rotary, I was talking with the director of the Ukrainian Medical American National, I'm going to say, going to read this a lot, Ukrainian Medical Association of North America. When I hung up the phone with this person this morning, I hear another member of this association being interviewed on NPR. And they are an organization that are receiving, they're doctors, and they are receiving donations here. They have a large warehouse in O'Hare, and they're asking for a few things. Volunteers, hopefully people who are available to come between 5 p.m. and 9 p.m. on weekdays, because they have a lot of volunteers coming on weekends, but eventually they will be able to use more. Also, what I am looking for are, what they told me as well, they're looking for contacts with pharmaceutical companies. So if you have any relations and contacts that you think you could share with us, please do so. Contact me because of course, they're all being asked to make donations for Ukraine. But here, this organization has specific requests. The other thing I am personally looking for is homes of your friends and relatives in Europe that would be willing to host refugees. And I've had really beautiful experience that I think in about half an hour, Ivanka, whose parents push her across the border, is arriving in Frankfurt, and she's going to be living with friends of us. So she's a musician, our friends are musicians, so she's going to be able to continue her studies in Germany. I spoke with her dad this morning, he's in Lviv, so it's, as you can imagine, so very emotional what is happening here. Also, our district has a fundraising and collection of medical supplies that they're going to be channeled through another group of Ukrainians that are also here in Chicago. So it is the same thing. Please, if you have, again, ideas, suggestions, contacts, reach out to me and I will give you more information because everything is very fresh at this time and there's a lot to do. But again, if you have friends who have a medical background, even better, to go and help catalog supplies in the Umana warehouse in O'Hare. Those of you who know who Project Cure is, they are working with Umana to help them because Project Cure sends medical equipment and supplies that they receive donated from hospitals all over the country and they ship them. But for the size of this activity that Umana has, so far they have raised 50 tons of equipment and supplies since the war started 11 days ago. They need someone like Project Cure who knows how to properly catalog, pack, and ship these items. So, all right, so that is for now what concerns the war in Ukraine. We'll leave the politics aside, but again, if you can extend a hand to help, again, I'm here to listen to you. Now, we're going to have soon our speaker. As you all know, we take questions at the end of the remarks. And hold on, let me put this here. So, those of you who are at the ULC, please, one question per guest. And also those you friends who are on Zoom, please write your questions in the Zoom chat, and then we'll read them, or you can come and you can read them yourself. All right. So now I would like to introduce Alita William, our president nominee, who in turn is going to introduce our speaker. So Alita, the podium is yours.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here today. So instead of just reading off Kelly's bio, which is in our gyrator, and I'm sure our wonderful Shelby can send you all a link to pull that up, I just wanted to just point out some wonderful things about how I met Ms. Kelly Fair and the great work that she does. She started Polished Pebbles back in 2009, and a couple of years later, we met through some mutual people, and she was like, I'm helping mentor girls, and if you could come out and help us be a part and help mentor them, or we have this event coming up and we just need some speakers. And I was like, that's awesome. How much do we need mentors for girls in this age, and especially Black and brown girls in this age, and especially back then, as we still do. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make that event, but Kelly has always been there for me to reach out to and for me to someone to look up to. They have been able to reach over 5,000 girls during their time with Polished Pebbles and have over 500 mentors. to be there for those girls, and the opportunities that these young women are able to get through this program is amazing, and one that we should all be a part of. So without any further ado, Ms. Kelly Fair.
Well, happy International Women's Day. It's funny how when you work in this space so much, you think about it, but you don't think about it. And it takes Facebook and the other social media platforms sometimes to remind us like, oh yeah, today is the day. So I'm happy to be here and grateful for this invitation. So on behalf of the Polished Pebbles Board of Directors, our staff, and of course our girls, I want to thank the Rotary Club of Chicago for having me here, and especially today in this month, which of course this March is Women's History Month. I couldn't think of a better time to be with all of you all today to talk about the work that we've done with Polished Pebbles. Now, what I love about this group and this opportunity is that I'm in a room of other committed servants. And when we are committed servants, of course, we can see the fruits of our labor, we can feel it and feel good sometimes, but sometimes a life of service doesn't always feel that great, and it can bring its own challenges, and sometimes it can be really daunting. But on a day like today, I'm really proud to think about and reflect on 13 years of Polished Pebbles when I left corporate America and started Polished Pebbles back in 2009. Now, when I started it back in 2009, we only had 2 girls at the first meeting, and I actually knew both of them. And we were at the 81st Street Chicago Public Library in Avalon, which is kind of like on the South Shore part of Chicago. And so with those small beginnings with just those 2 girls, ironically, there was a room full of women who heard about the opportunity to mentor through Polished Pebbles and showed up. And so with the 2 girls, we let them play to the side, but we put together a plan to figure out how would we build this program, how would we recruit, and recruit is just what we did. So since 2009 and those very first 2 girls, we have served now well over 6,000 girls. We served them throughout the city of Chicago, the South Side, the West Side, North Side, East Side, South Suburbs, Western Suburbs, Northwest Indiana. We've done some work down in Dallas, Texas. And then for 4 years, we ran a college edition of Polished Pebbles at Duke University, serving young women of color who were undergraduate students. We have a small but a mighty team of about 15 staff members who power Polished Pebbles, and Madeline Frigo, sitting at the table up front, is one of them. So Monday through Friday, you can find us serving tween and teen. So that's like that 5th to 8th grade group, and of course the high school age group. And you can find us in school day programs, after school programs throughout the area, some Saturdays, and we also put in a lot of work in summer programs as well. With Polished Pebbles, we focus programmatically on making sure girls are great communicators at home, great communicators at school, and great communicators for the future workplace. So for me, when I think about my passion behind Polished Pebbles, my passion for communication skills, the big secret that I often share with girls, and I share with any audience, is that when I was about in middle school, there was no way that I ever thought that my career would involve getting up and speaking in front of people. You could not have paid me money in 6th grade to get up and answer the question of any guest speaker that came to my school. I mean, they could have been giving away $100 to the kid with the answer, and I was a girl sitting there with the answer. But what happened to me in 6th grade is I transferred to a new school, and what happened to me in 6th grade is what research says happens to any girl from any community, any background. My self-confidence took a nosedive. I mean, it was always new cool kids, and I was used to wearing uniforms, and now we have to have cool clothes. And there was this exclusion thing that happened in the lunchroom, that if you didn't get on this side of the table, you weren't with the cool girls. And what happened is in 3rd and 4th and 5th grade, I used to love raising my hand in class. I loved and embraced being the leader. I even jumped from 4th grade math to 5th grade. Was no issue. But when I got to 6th grade, that self-esteem took a nosedive. But the thing that made it for me is I was a girl, a Black girl, who was influenced by Essence magazine. And back in the day, Essence magazine was one of, if not the only place that you could find images and stories about African American women. And it was a magazine dedicated solely to that. And so in Essence, I got to see women who were beautiful. They were well dressed. They were mothers and family women like my mother, and they were career women. And so for me, every month when that magazine hit the mail slot, I was all over it, and I wanted to be an Essence woman. So when I heard about this thing back in the late 80s called Take Your Daughter to Work Day, I don't know what it was in me, but I told my parents, I was like, oh, we're doing this. And I told my dad, I'm going to work with you. And at that time, he worked for the city of Evanston. And so we did that. I got out of school, got free McDonald's for the day, and hung out with my dad at work. And it had just a huge impression upon me about the importance of work. I went ahead and got my next job at 13, not because my parents told me to, but because in Kelly Ferris' mind at 13, that's what an Essence lady should do. And I was a little summer intern at Dudley's Beauty College because I thought I wanted to be a cosmetologist back then. But the powerful thing about Dudley's is that those women that worked there mentored me, they groomed me, and they said, cool, if you want to do this, but there's college and there's other things for you to consider. And they pushed me to think about all of those things. If you fast forward to today, when we think about the girls that we serve in Polished Pebbles, their parents don't necessarily have the type of careers that could afford them to just take their daughters to work with them, like my parents were able to do. So our work in Polished Pebbles is really been to work to assist in creating this pipeline, a career pipeline for girls, even as young as 4th and 5th grade. And we work to equip them with having mentors, career exploration experiences, and of course, we want to make sure that they're equipped with superb communication skills. We want to develop girls in this way in Polished Pebbles because we want them to be the future leaders to address all these gender gaps. I think some of the speakers earlier mentioned some of the gender gaps. And of course, in Women's History Month, the language is very much about things like the gender pay gap, right? That differs between men and women. And that gap gets even wider when we talk about the gender pay gap with women of color, or the gender leadership gap, and how we see gaps in leadership where there's not enough women in corporate America, corporate boards, or even in political life. But the hard reality we have to face here at Polished Pebbles is that before we can actually get girls to develop and become the future leaders to close those gender pay gaps, we first must start in closing the gap that I came up with, and it's called the hope gap. What's the hope gap? The hope gap, unfortunately, I've seen it too much. So in the years of running Polished Pebbles, a lot of companies will come and find out and say, hey, we got a job, summer job or an internship or program for one of your girls. Can you pick one out? And we're like, yes, we'll do it. You get a girl or a group of girls and you sit them down. And of course, we serve predominantly Black and brown girls. And we say, hey, company ABC has an opportunity for you. Who wants it? Who wants a summer job? Who wants the after school job? And of course, they want the job. Of course, they want the money. Of course, sometimes those dollars are necessary income for their families. But what we often hear is reluctance. What we often hear is, well, I kind of want to do it, but I know that they don't want girls like us. Then you get to, unfortunately, hear stories about girls saying, well, I went to the local grocery store, I went to the local fast food joint, and they didn't want me. They don't want girls like us. And when you look at the schools and the communities that they reside in, they see reality, which is a lot of lack of investment in those communities, a lot of lack of investment in girls. So the thing is before we can get them to the point of wanting to be the soldiers to close the gender pay gap and all those other gaps, we have to work together with programs like Polished Pebbles to help them close the hope gap first. So when we think about closing that hope gap so that they feel powerful, that they feel confident, that they feel prepared, that they feel wanted and desired with the programs that we've created that we see as solutions as Polished Pebbles, we come together as a team, put our heads together. And as I learned more about Rotarians, I, of course, heard of the 4-way test. doing. And so as we're putting together these solutions that I'd like to share with you this morning, we kind of ask ourselves some of the same questions that you guys are asking yourself when you're coming up with solutions to solve society and our community's ills. Is it the truth? Is it the truth that our girls feel hopeless and disinvested? Is it the truth when we're out and we're sharing these realities with audiences like you today? And I can say faithfully, strongly, absolutely, the hope gap is the truth. And I can bring you a handful of girls who have believed that about themselves. So yes, it's truthful. Question 2, are the programs that we're developing in Polished Pebbles fair to all the girls and families that we're concerned with? Yep, Chicago is a big city. 77 neighborhoods in the city with their own different cultures, different pulses, different needs. And because I work with so many schools, I say there's so many kingdoms and queendoms in each one of those 77 neighborhoods, and those kingdoms and queendoms are school campuses. But they have their own communities and their own girls and their own cultures and their own needs. So for us, we're driven to make sure that we create programs that are fair to all of the communities and all the girls that we serve here locally in this region, but also the girls that we've been able to contact around the globe. So then the next thing we have to ask ourselves is, will these programs build goodwill and better friendships? Well, at Polished Pebbles, of course, we are driven to create programs that not only focus on communication skills, focus on career skills, but are community focused. The Polished Pebbles world doesn't go round without partnerships and community. So that means the corporate community who provides the job shadows, the school partners, government agencies who fund and help structure us, parents, and of course, organizations with people like you. And then finally, will these programs be beneficial to all that are concerned? Well, you rang the bell and you guys have been here for thousands of meetings. We're confident, like you are confident, that partnerships like these, programs like these, are definitely beneficial to all the girls that we serve. And definitely we find benefit out of them too. And really hopeful about what a partnership between Rotary and Polished Pebbles can look like. So I just want to share with you some of the kind of solutions that we have had in our think tank, and Madeline can attest to it. She's also not only a staff member and a manager now, but she started off at 18 as a University of Chicago freshman, finishing her first year as a Polished Pebbles intern, the very first Polished Pebbles intern. So we're very proud to see that our work is not only impacting girls, but it's really also impacting the next generation of social service providers, of nonprofit professionals, and community-minded executives as well. So the first solution I want to share with you guys is very near and dear and kind of similar to the Job One program. So when I said we serve about 800 girls, the majority of them happen to be served by Polished Pebbles Monday through Friday in our school day and after school programs. We have so many schools it's hard to keep up with, and we're very grateful for that. They get Polished Pebbles sessions. They work on communication skills, social skills, working on certain goals like positive interaction with peers, respectful interactions with adults, building their social emotional learning skills, right? And then, of course, one of the things that we want them to work on is using it for the future workplace. The reality is we have to think about what would engage girls in thinking about why communication skills matter. Why should they embrace them? So we use the future workplace as the campus to do so. If it worked for me back in the 80s with Take Your Daughter to Work Day, it works now with our girls where we take our Pebbles to work. The culminating event after 15 or 25 weeks of Polished Pebbles is every single Polished Pebble is working to go on their own job shadow. It happens at companies like Blue Cross Blue Shield, Bloomingdale's, Microsoft, and one of our board members who's actually on the line, Dawn Millhouse, with Millhouse Construction and Engineering. They get a chance to put all the communication skills, life skills that we taught them into practice and explore different careers and meet other role models. And consistently, no matter the level, no matter the position, no matter the industry or the sector, they hear consistently that it takes being a really great communicator to be successful in this particular position. The other solution we're really, really excited about and that is our Every Girl's a CEO Summer Work Study Program. This is our Every Girl's a CEO Career and Success Guide. We published it last year, and it is the only career and success guide on the market for girls of color. And it serves as really the core curriculum for our Every Girl's a CEO Summer Work Study Program. Many of the girls that we work with, this becomes their very first job, and they learn and earn at the same time. So they're learning career readiness skills with us all summer and earning their very first paychecks. If you could see, a 13-year-old and her mom show up and get their very first paycheck, and what we like to call our CEO kit, where they get their Every Girl is a CEO book, their sweater, and the other things, the amount of pride that that girl feels, the amount of pride that that family feels is just something that you cannot ignore. And we're very grateful. People have been asking me, how's it going? I'm like, well, trying to finish the spring and get ready for the summer. We hired 160 girls last summer. So it was a very robust summer, lots of first paychecks, lots of first time doing HR paperwork for many of our families. But we get to see the truth and the proof in the pudding as we're preparing them for the next internships at external companies and those experiences, because they started first with us in Polished Pebbles. With us, guys, I mentioned to you, community and family is important. We realized as we were sitting there working with many of our girls, our moms would say, oh, I'm a Polished Pebble too. I need to sit in this session just as much. And that's every mom, not just the moms who are entering the workforce for the first time, the moms who may be re-entering the workforce or polishing up on their entrepreneurship skills. So our Mommy and Me program with Polished Pebbles allows moms and daughters over the summer for about 7 weeks to work on their communication and career skills while building bonds and while building businesses at the same time. We have tons of Mommy and Me Polished Pebbles businesses where they learn how to put together their own business plan, and they pitch it at the end of the summer in our very own Polished Pebbles Shark Tank. We have film and photography businesses, marketing businesses, lemonade businesses, nails businesses. So we're very proud of being able to support and really in post-COVID reverse the she session, right? It negatively impacts so many women and girls, the COVID pandemic. We're able to empower both the girls and their families and their mothers at the same time with new business and communication and career skills. And then finally, our last solution is really helping our girls realize your community is bigger than a 4 to 6 block radius of your home. Your community is bigger than Chicago. Your community is not just the South Side or the West Side. Your community is national. The Polished Pebbles community is national. And quite frankly, over the last 2 years, it's become global. How do we do that? In our Polished Pebbles Career Conference. So, of course, the pandemic pushed us to be virtual, but what a blessing that was. We set out to work with 75 girls, and we got just that in 2020. And we had girls from throughout Chicagoland, a couple of different states across the world, and one girl from India as well. So when we saw the trend and the ability to connect and bring great panels of professional women who present a blueprint of success to the girls, we said, well, let's do it again. And so last year, we actually did again the conference, and we did it globally, but very intentionally this time. And we included a longtime partner of mine, African Tekin, in Johannesburg. And so we had 30 South African girls join us as well, all using the same language about being a polished pebble, great communication skills, and all identifying themselves as what? CEOs. Doesn't get better than that. So I want to share a little bit. I think we actually have it queued, a video.
We do, Kelly. I'll play that right now.
Yep. So this video that we're going to share is a little snippet and a summary from the conference, but you get to see other committed servants just like you who, when they got the question and said, will you serve? They did. And they served as really great role models for our girls.
Being a leader requires a willingness to dedicate yourself to a vision and sacrifice to make that vision a reality. Your decision today to participate in this day of learning is proof that you are willing and dedicated and making the sacrifice.
And you've heard from a lot of women who were the first women ever, the first Black woman ever, the first Latina ever, right? There's gaps there, but for us sometimes, girls that look like us, there's a hope gap. when you make these connections like you're making today. It continues on when you need some encouragement to get with your mentors, whether those are those at African Teakin, those here with Pebbles, those in your schools and your communities. And when you need some help, read the stories here in the Every Girl is a CEO Career and Success Guide. We tell stories of some of the women you've met today where they give you the blueprints of success, and they can give you hope sometimes when you feel like you don't have it.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ashley Hasell. I am a last semester senior at University of Illinois at Chicago, majoring in business management with a minor in African American studies. And I am a CEO because right now I own a jewelry business where I make necklace, pendants, and charm bracelets. And I'm still going to be a CEO after graduating because I want to venture out in nonprofits and open up my own homeless temporary housing.
Addison Malone. I'm a freshman at Limbo Math and Science Academy. And I'm a CEO because I have my own film photography business called Director's Eye, where I do videos for different celebratory events, as well as me now, transitioning into freelance filmmaking. Something interesting about me is I was able to start my business only a year ago through the Mommy and Me program through Pebbles this past summer. And soon after that, I was able to premiere a documentary that I co-direct.
You to be courageous and take the first step. Never be afraid that something is bigger than you, because you can do anything you put your mind to.
Now, my first job was at McDonald's. So I went from working a drive-through at McDonald's to becoming a lawyer, then to going on to be a member of Congress. And that's something I never dreamed that I would do. And these days, I like to ask our young girls very early, when they are 3 years old, like, ask young girls, what do you want to be when you grow up? And when they say, I want to be a teacher, reinforce it. But let's ask every young girl, how about President of the United States?
I rely very heavily on the skills that I learned from those activities in high school in terms of my ability to communicate, to have confidence, to think through different issues and challenges.
And I said yes to a number of career opportunities that I didn't know at the time were really preparing me and leading me into my role as CEO of a construction firm.
People see me on TV every day and they think glamour, but let me tell you how I started. I was lugging a 35-pound camera, shooting my own video, editing my own stuff, writing my own stories every single day, and being so consistent and working hard and working with integrity in the first jobs that we get, the first steps in the industry, and that can truly lead. Like Ray said, you started there, people saw, they noticed what you did, and then you were able to pivot that and build off of that.
Just be teachable. And I think that's really important, to be teachable in this industry.
I am inspired for people coming behind me so that when I do a good job, it won't be that I'm the first and the only. I want to do such a good job that this door is open for more people that look like me, so that we're not continually celebrating first, but this is a normal thing, that women of color are occupying occupying offices of power and leadership, and that there's not this thought that, oh, you can't do it. I've never seen anyone do it.
I know you cannot be what you do not see, right? So I'm here so you can see that there is a possibility that you can do anything that you set your mind to.
Remember this, there is no easy way to success. Throughout your life, you will have doubts and you'll have insecurity, but pledge to yourselves that you will always conquer self-defeat. Remain strong and give yourself and those important to you the encouragement that you need to secure your own dream. Don't allow yourself to get older and look back with regret and say, I could have done that. I wish that were me. Because the people who succeed are not going to have been better than you. They will not be smarter than you or luckier than you. Those are just going to be people who at one point in time said to themselves, I can and I will. You should be that person too.
We are now a sisterhood, a global, international sisterhood of CEOs. And that's a powerful, powerful thing.
Yes, we can! Yes, we can! Yes, we can!
So I really liked in that video how Dr. Ezekiel talked about her passion and her drive behind no longer being the first, no longer being the only, and really making it a normal thing that Black and brown girls see themselves as the director of health for the state of Illinois, or like Chief Tiffany and see themselves as fire chiefs, or CEOs of construction companies like Stephanie Hickman, or a CEO of Intron like Sharina Edwards. That's just normal. And with these kind of activities and with partnerships with organizations like yours, we know that we will be putting in the groundwork of closing the hope gap, where girls will no longer say, well, they don't want girls like me. I've never seen girls like me. Now they're seeing girls like them saying, yes, you can. And so we want it to change where they say, well, even if they don't want a girl like me, they really need a girl like me. Right? So we're excited for the beginning of this partnership between Polished Pebbles and Rotary. And we're excited that we'll be working together to close the hope gap and ensuring girls are confident and comfortable in doing their best to shine. So thank you guys so much, and I'm looking forward to the questions as well.
Well, you can stay here because you'll have to answer the questions, but thank you so much for all what you're doing. I mean, it's extraordinary and a blessing for all girls on this special day. So friends, do you have any questions that you would like to ask Kelly? Yes. Oh, thank you, Alita.
Hey, Kelly. Where's the funding come from to support the program?
Sure. So our funding sources are diverse. So from the very beginning, we've always kind of served, and as I mentioned earlier, I came from corporate America. So I used to manage national marketing for McGraw-Hill textbook companies, in addition to have done some community-based work. So bidding for RFPs was something that was kind of natural to me. So you'll see that we are direct contractors, subcontractors with Chicago Public Schools, various different school districts, City of Chicago, government entities, in addition to funding that comes from many of the traditional nonprofit foundations, the Polk Brothers, Chicago Foundation for Women, individual givers and donors, and of course, the corporations that partner with us often sponsor a lot of our activities as well.
My name is Anne from Anchorage, Alaska. Thank you so much for sharing your presentation. Do students stay? For how many years is this relationship? How long do you track them? Once again, so you said 5th and 6th grade, and how long is this relationship?
So we like to have as many long-standing relationships as possible. A lot of that has to do with having long-standing relationships with the school partners, right? And so in 13 years, we have seen the ups and the downs of school funding cuts, strikes and things like that. But there are many young ladies that end up following us through elementary school. We try and form partnerships with schools that feed into the neighboring high school district so that we catch them there as well. So we have some of our very first Polished Pebbles who have come back to work with the organization, volunteer with the organization. A 3rd grader that was one of our very first Pebbles, her older sister now is a facilitator. So in many instances, we're able to track, but not enough. So one of the things when we think about closing gender gaps, there is a philanthropy gender gap that needs to be closed. Out of all the philanthropic dollars that go towards charities across the world, only 1% go to organizations that support girls and women. So we have got to look at increasing our giving and increasing the asks so that more organizations that support all girls and all women are supported so that we can close even more of those gaps by being even more consistent with our services. Thank you. Just gentlemen up front. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Lita. So thank you for your insight here. Very, very powerful, completely supported. The woman to your right, to my left, is my boss right now. The woman to my right, your left, is also my boss. So I'm kind of sandwiched in between two women, and I do believe in the power of mixing the thinking. I really, truly do. And I think giving these young women an inspiration, a vision, is wonderful. But I think there's something more to that. Don't you think we have a societal issue where we have to start deeper, earlier, so that these young women don't find themselves in that position? And what do you want to do about that?
Oh, absolutely. No, so when I first started this, people thought I was nuts when I said, well, we can do sessions with, fifth graders about goals, developing goals. And they said, are you kidding me? And if you look at how we do most services here in Chicago, it is very much a Band-Aid approach. We look at the headlines, this happened, and typically the dollars and the support go more towards boys because many of the instances that they've been faced with are the gun violence and things like that make the headlines. So the support that's gone towards youth programs and nonprofit programs like Untitled Pebbles have tended to go more towards older students. If they're the ones committing the handgun violence and things like that, the dollars have gone towards the 16, the 17, and the 18-year-old students. So from the very start, when we had our first Untitled Pebbles sessions and we were working with second and third graders and taking them on job shadows to Bloomingdale's, people thought we were out of our minds. But they were able to grasp the same concepts, know that it's important to be a great communicator at any of these jobs and any of these companies. So to be quite frank, we've been on the cutting edge of making sure that we're sharing with audiences that it's critically important to invest in girls and invest in girls early. We've even shown that with another one of our solutions, which is our Pink Heart Hats project. It's our initiative to help actually expose girls and allow them to explore careers in skilled trades, in construction, and also in manufacturing. The reality is, the research says girls and boys are making their decisions about what they're capable of based on gender, because that's how we've socialized them in 3rd through 5th grade. So we help girls realize that if you want to be like Stephanie Hickman or Sharina Edwards and be in engineering and be in construction, you've got to be good at STEM. And so these are different academic subjects that we want them to start focusing on and building their confidence in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. So we are all in and invested. I would say probably about, Madeline, 85 to 90% of the schools that we're in this year are all elementary schools. So we're committed to starting earlier and growing along with them. Thank you for that question. Sure, if there's any.
Is there another question?
I don't know.
No, not here.
No.
Okay.
Is there still time, or do you move on?
We have like 2 minutes.
Okay. So communication skills, love it. It's a big umbrella. So much under communication. I think of my mind wanders to the traditional stuff, Toastmasters, public speaking, and then my mind wanders to the non-traditional stuff. What I thought of, I don't have kids of my own, but I have nieces, and I would love to teach them boundaries, backbone, and rejection skills. So I'm wondering, can you tell us a little bit about some of your non-traditional, or maybe even more provocative communication skills along the lines of boundaries, backbone, and rejection?
Sure. I think sometimes you have to think about too, let me say this. So people often say, well, girls need self-confidence and self-esteem. So do you have like 5 sessions just on self-esteem, like self-esteem session 1, session 2, session 3? And we say, well, no, we address it, but there's a lot of courage for any kid, but particularly from the kids in the communities that we serve when we say, we're going to take you on a job shadow. We're going to take you out of your neighborhood. We're going to go to a community that you're not accustomed to, people that have never maybe really seen and been in communities like yours. And we're going to dress up and you're going to have to learn these skills. That is a very radical thing. And so sometimes what it looks like is you see girls, I don't want to do this. I'm not interested in this. I don't want to come to Untitled Pebbles anyway. That seems to be on the surface, oh, these are bad kids. These are kids who don't get it. No, that's fear, because it means that you're taking me somewhere different. It means that you're telling me to dress up. And the reality is I don't have dress clothes, and I don't want to admit that or let anybody know that. The reality is that what's comfortable for me, or the behavior that society has said is typical for a Black and brown girl, and you're showing me something different and that I could possibly be accepted, is something that is extremely radical to them. So in many ways, and then having tough conversations to say, we're going to this suburb, we're going to Oak Brook. Have any of you guys been to Oak Brook? What do you think they might think when they see a school bus and you're a group of Southside Black girls, coming out to Oak Brook? That's a very real conversation about what they think the perceptions are going to be of them and what their perceptions are of the people that will be there. So it takes those very real conversations that, for me, were the conversations I had at my home. Many of you guys have heard about, of course, the talk, that many families have with their boys of color as they are getting pulled over by police. It's a talk that we have to have. And so that takes a lot of backbone and a lot of courage to go through when it seems it's easier to just cut up and say, I don't want to do this. So that's just one example, to just be aware of yourself and aware of how the world may view you, but be aware also, as we're instilling with them, the skills that they have, the abilities that they have, what they bring to the table. And so this seems awkward, this seems weird, but you need to do it. And the party starts when that school bus from Polished Pebbles gets here, and building their confidence and their excitement about that. So that's just one small example. I appreciate the question.
Thank you, and I appreciate your answer as well, because there's always room to stretch your heart and your mind more and more. And thank you for opening so many doors to all these girls and us. And I look forward to the cooperation that we can have in our organizations. I think it's going to be wonderful.
I appreciate it.
Okay, well, oh, wait, Kelly, I have something for you. Well, we have a token of appreciation for your visit here, and this is a certificate that we give to our speakers. And if you would like, we can email it to you as well.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
So thank you. I heard a lot about you, and I'm so pleased that I meet you for the second time.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you long.
Of course. So, Shelby, can I do a short announcement before we induct Beatriz? Could you post? There we go. Okay, baby Owen was born. Richard Ziegler is a dad for the second time, and baby Owen was born on the 18th of February. So let's congratulate. I don't know if Richard is here, but baby Owen, became a celebrity today in our club. All right, next. We are going to induct our dear friend Beatriz Vivas, the Consul General of the Republic of Argentina, and Timo, President-elect of the Rotary Club of Chicago, is going to proceed with the ceremony. So Beatriz, for those of you who did not participate or attend the wonderful Argentine wine tasting event, Beatriz and the Consulate of Argentina collaborated with us on this event. So, Timo, you take over.
No, don't go away.
Okay.
Here. That's for you.
Oh, okay.
You have a drop here too.
Oh,
I can't do it all by myself.
Okay.
All right, friends, this is the first induction that I'm doing, so I commit to do my very best to not mess it up. Beatriz, welcome. We have a very, very formal, a very eloquent induction speech. That is certainly not my language. Everybody listening to this will know this is not German. But here we go. Beatriz, it's my great pleasure on behalf of the board of directors and the members of the Rotary Club of Chicago to welcome you as a member of Rotary One. We welcome you not only for the fine fellowship that we shall share, but also for your talents, abilities, and enthusiasm that will help us to carry out our many projects to make our community, our country, and the world a better place in which to live. Now, note, Rotary, that was my personal editing here. Rotary is not a political organization, but all Rotarians are vitally concerned with everything pertaining to good citizenship and the election of good men and women to public office. Rotary is not a charitable organization, yet its activities exemplify the charity and the sacrifices that one should expect from people who believe that they have a responsibility to help others. Rotary is not a religious organization, but it's built on those eternal principles that have served as a moral compass for people throughout the ages. Make sure I got this right. Rotary is an organization of business and professional people pledged to upholding the highest professional standards. Rotarians believe that worldwide fellowship and international peace, certainly throughout these days, can be achieved when business people unite under the banner of service. To this point, I'd like to invite everybody in the room here to stand, please. You've chosen for membership in the Rotary Club Chicago because your fellow Rotarians believe you to be a leader in your profession, and because you manifest the intelligence and commitment of heart that fit you to interpret, impact the message of Rotary. You are a representative of your profession in this club, and any information of an educational value pertaining to that profession must naturally come to us through you. At the same time, you become an ambassador from us to your profession, and we rely on you to carry the principles and ideals of service which we here inspire to those who share your professional activity. The community will know and judge Rotary by your embodiment of it and character and service, and we accept you as a member because we know our principles and organization will be safe in your keeping. We also expect you to give us the inspiration that will help us to become better Rotarians. And it's with this hope that I asked the president, Ms. Marga, of the Rotary Club of Chicago to invest you with the distinguishing pin of a Rotarian and gladly offer you the right hand of Rotary Fellowship.
Thank you.
Marga, your turn.
Okay, well, here I proceed with the surgery aspect of the message. I can put here. Okay. We have a pin, that's number one, because we're the number one club.
All right, guys, hand of applause here. Thank you there, please welcome. Welcome.
All right. Have more. So, in Rotary, we love pins, but then this.
Hold on, so we can hear you.
Thank you. Okay, in Rotary, we love pins like the Olympians, so we're no different. And the theme for this year is serve to change lives. And I think this year also we're serving to save lives as well. So you can wear all this jewelry for your next meeting. Thank you so much for what you already have done for our club, which is hosting with us our fundraising event, which it's one we haven't done in many years. So it was wonderful. I hope we can do that something like that again soon. No, not soon. Let's take a breather, right? Okay, so come, Mr. President-elect. We should have a picture.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay.
Let me hijack the program for 1 second. So I couldn't make the Argentinian wine tasting, but the great fundraiser. Take a seat. So that was great. I know that Marga is very involved in the support of the Ukraine. And Matthias and I were now working on the intercountry committee with Austria and Germany to support a not-for-profit in Germany to help the Ukraine. This is all in the works. Karen is going to tell me what to do, but stay tuned. What we're looking to do is at the next meeting have like a 10-minute presentation of an organization called Helping Hands out of Germany, shipping food, clothes, whatever, into the Ukraine by the truckload. And I'm looking to have a bunch of German Rotary clubs, as well as Austrians and Americans. This is at the beginning stage. and we're working on it.
Excellent.
Right, boss?
Yeah.
All right, back to you.
Okay, thank you. So, usually, we have 7 minutes left, so you are going to see the information about the upcoming meeting, so I'm not going to read that to you. What I really would like to do is introduce now our visitors, our guests. So let's start with the guests who have come from the farthest place away. And I think this is somebody from Sweden, right? Yes, okay. Welcome. Tell us your name and which club are you a member of?
My name is Samir, and I'm the member. Oh, thank you. My name is Samir, and I'm the member of the Rotary Club in Sweden. I'm the past president of
Excellent. We are several presidents here, past, current, and future. So, welcome to the group. Okay, thank you. And then we have somebody that came from Alaska. Yes.
Thank you. So nice to be here. Anne Adazia Andrew from Anchorage, Alaska. That's like 5 days in a row. And I'm here to listen to Andrew. Thank you so much for having us.
Welcome so much. Yes. Okay, we have a guest from Oregon. So tell us your name.
So I'm Steve Pebbles, and I'm from Oregon. We love to use Eastern city addresses. I'm from Milwaukee, Oregon.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
My long-term friend here, John. As you can see, she's from Boston. She will be a member. That's my commitment to you guys for my presidential.
Excellent. Okay. Welcome. Do we have anybody else here? Oh, yes.
Hello, everyone. My name is Danny Moya. I'm a Rotary member from Buffalo Grove Rotary Club, right in Northwest Chicago. I'm here with Joe Click. He's one of my great friends. So I'm trying to make him become a Rotarian. So he lives here in downtown, so talking, hey, let's go to downtown Rotary Club. You might like it too. I brought him several times to love it so far.
Well, I hope it caused a good impression. All right, and I think here on Zoom we have, let's see, Don Millhouse. Are you still in the call? And Frank Hinojosa?
I am.
We would like to say hello to you.
Yes, I am here.
Hi there, welcome.
Thank you.
All right, and where are you, Don?
I am here. My dog is barking, so please accept my apologies. Great job, and thank you for all you do.
Okay, well, we love dogs here too, so if you come and visit us in person, bring him along, okay? All right, well, as I said, if you have, oh, yes, yes, how could I forget? So.
Hi, everyone. My name is Robert Snyder. I'm not sure if this is microphone on. I don't know if the folks on Zoom can do me on that. My friend Nita invited me to the Argentinian wine tasting, and I met several of you there. And Ed and I had a chance to be in touch. So yeah, delighted to be here. I live so close that I could ride my bike.
Oh, fantastic. Well, speaking of which, we bike a lot for Rotary. But before we close, Ed, would you like to come over or use the microphone to tell us about what is your planning? What are you planning?
We are planning, we started 3-4 months ago doing networking business networking programs that tie in lots of people community business community in Rotary Club of Chicago. So we hosted an event on the 16th to the 4 o'clock start at Earl's Architects. And Earl's is a gentleman who eventually will also be military. Their part is your team is here. Architect, he's been here several times, and it's going to be a great event. It's a great opportunity to just relive what Paul Harris did and his fellows, getting together, going and visiting their places of business, learning about the places of business, and having a chance to really kind of get to know each other. So there should be some information that we sent out to you.
Yes, I have to say that Ed brought back the brilliant idea of how Rotary got started, because the very first members you used to rotate from business location to business location. So you know what? It's a great opportunity to network and talk about your businesses. So, and also we'll include a little bit of service. So I hope you bring your friends as well to this event. Keep in touch with us, look at the gyrator, and you're going to have indications of, time and location and date, of course. All right, so before we close, let's see. Beatriz, you are the newest member here. Would you like to read the four-way test so we close the meeting?
I just read.
Yeah, come here. Yeah, please come here. Let me give you the microphone.
Thank you. Well, the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you very, very much. And with this, at 1:20 sharp, I am closing the meeting. So thank you all for being here.